Welcome to Don Bosco in a Year podcast.
Day 31. As I had a certain facility in expounding the Word of God, I was in much demand as a preacher to give festal homilies in the nearby villages. At the end of October that year, I was invited to preach at St. Benignis at Lavriano. I was anxious to do justice to the occasion and so prepared and wrote out my homily carefully, trying to make it popular and at the same time polished. I studied it well, determined to win glory from it. But God wanted to teach a terrible lesson to my pride. It was feast day, and I had to say Holy Mass for the people before setting off. To get there in time for the sermon, I had to go on horseback. Sometimes trotting, sometimes galloping. I was about halfway along and had reached the valley of Castel Borgogne between Cinzano and Bersano. As I passed a millet field, a flock of sparrows took sudden flight. The noise of their fright frightened the horse, and he bolted down the road across the fields and meadows. Somehow I managed to stay in the saddle, but then I realized that it was slipping under the horse's belly. I tried an equestrian maneuver, but the saddle was out of place and forced me upwards, and I fell head first onto a heap of broken stones. From a hill close by, a man could see this regrettable accident. He ran to my assistance with one of his workers and, finding me unconscious, carried me to his house and laid me on his best bed. They gave me the most loving care, and after an hour I came to and realized that I was in a strange house. God reward you for your charity, my good friend, I said. I don't think I've done much damage. A broken collarbone, maybe. I can't move it. Where am I? You are on Bersano Hill in the house of John Calosso, better known as Brina. I'm at your service. I too have got around a bit and know what it is need to help. Many a spill I've had going through fairs and markets. While we are waiting for the doctor, tell me some of your stories. Oh, he said, I have lots of things I could tell you like this one. One autumn, a few years ago, I was going to Asti on my donkey to collect winter provisions. On my way home, when I got to the valley of Murialdo, my poor beast, quite overloaded, fell in a mud hole and lay there in the middle of the road, unable to move. Every effort to get her up again proved useless. It was midnight dark and wet, not knowing what else to do. I shouted for help. In a few minutes, someone answered from a little house nearby. They came, a seminarian and his brother, and two other men with a lamp to light their way. They got her out of the muck, having first unloaded her. They took me and all my baggage to their house. I was half dead and covered with mud. They cleaned me up and put new life into me with a magnificent supper. Then they gave me a nice soft bed. In the morning before I left, I wanted to pay them for all they had done for me. But the seminarian turned everything down flat, saying, Who know, someday we may need your help. I was moved to tears by his words. When he saw my reaction, he asked me if I were ill. No, I replied. Your story gives me great pleasure, and that's what moves me. How happy I would be, he went on, if I knew what I could do for that good family, what fine people. What was their name? Bosco, he said, popular known as Boschetti. But why are you so moved? You know them? Maybe? How is that seminarian? That seminarian, my good friend, is the priest whom you have repaid 1,000 times for what he did for you. John Brina came the whole way home with me. For as long as he lived, we remained fast friends. After this warning, I firmly resolved that in the future I would prepare my sermons for the greater glory of God, and not to appear learned and
Thank you for joining us today on this journey to know Don Bosco. May these reflections deepen our faith, guide us closer to God each day, and hope to see you all tomorrow. Till then, keep seeking, keep praying, keep growing.